when my sister Rachel stood up during dinner and proudly announced, "We're having another baby." Everyone clapped. Everyone except me. I forced a smile, but inside, my stomach turned. Because I knew what would come next. Late-night phone calls, unpaid bills, babysitting for days on end, and me once again stepping in to clean up the chaos. This was pregnancy number 6. Rachel was 33, married to a man who barely worked, and somehow still acted shocked every time life got harder. Meanwhile, I was the one who picked up the pieces. When she couldn't pay rent, I covered it. When she needed a break, I watched her kids. When her car broke down, I loaned her mine. And every time, she promised it was the last favor. But somehow, the last favor never came. That night, after the announcement, I pulled her aside and asked, "How are you planning to manage another child, Rach?" She laughed lightly. "Oh, come on, Mia. Don't start. You always worry too much." I crossed my arms. "You can't even handle the 5 you have." Her face darkened. "You're judging me again. I thought you'd be happy for me." I wanted to scream. I wasn't judging. I was exhausted. 4 years, I had been both aunt and emergency mom. I had missed job interviews, vacations, and dates because she just needed a few hours. I went home that night feeling hollow. My apartment was small and quiet, filled with the things I worked hard for, things that stayed where I left them. But all I could hear was Rachel's carefree laugh echoing in my head. The next morning, she texted me, "Can you come over later? The kids want to see you. I'm not feeling well." Of course she wasn't. She never did once she was pregnant. I stared at the message for a long time. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, then I typed, "I can't today." It was the first time I had ever said no. A few hours later, she called, angry. "What do you mean you can't? You're their aunt." "I know," I said quietly. "But I'm not their mother." "You are." She scoffed. "You wouldn't understand. You don't have kids." That one stung, but I stayed calm. "You're right, I don't. Because I've been too busy raising yours." She hung up. The silence afterward was both painful and freeing. Days turned into weeks. She didn't call, and I didn't reach out. For the first time in years, I focused on myself. I worked late without guilt. I went on a trip I'd been postponing for ages. And slowly, the weight that had been pressing on my chest started to lift. But then, one evening, I got a knock on my door. It was my mom. Her expression was tight. "You need to go talk to your sister," she said. "She's upset." I sighed. She's always upset when I stop fixing her messes. Mom frowned. "She's family, Mia." "Exactly," I said. "And that's why this hurts so much. Because she takes advantage of that word." Mom didn't reply. She just looked tired, the same kind of tired I used to feel. A few days later, Rachel texted again. This time, it was different. "I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much I depended on you. I panicked when you pulled away. But I get it now. You needed space." I didn't reply immediately. I just stared at the screen, my emotions tangled between anger, guilt, and relief. Eventually, I wrote back, "I'll always love you, Rachel. But I can't keep saving you. You have to learn to stand on your own. I'm here when you really need me, not when you want me to do your part." She never argued again. Months passed, and she actually started making changes. Getting a part-time job, managing her house better, learning to say no to her husband. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. And for me, I learned that loving someone doesn't mean losing yourself to them. Sometimes walking away isn't cruelty. It's the only way to teach someone how to walk on their own. So when she announced her 6th pregnancy, I didn't clap. I didn't criticize either. I just smiled politely, hugged her, and went home, because this time, I knew where my boundaries were. And for the first time in my life, that felt like peace.